Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Moving Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. It's the podcast where we watch The Muppet Christmas Carol 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Anthony Strand.
And I'm your other host, Ryan Rowe.
And joining us today, we have one of our favorite guests. He's been on every season, and he's back for this one. Guest, introduce yourself, please.
Hello there. I'm Erik Adams, pop culture editor and critic and journalist and frequent Moving Right Along guest.
One of our most frequent.
Yes, indeed. So I was very sad to see in retrospect that I missed out on the Muppet Family Christmas season. I think it was right around the time that my daughter was born. So I didn't even know that y'all had done it. I was just looking back on episodes ahead of this season, and I was like, "Oh, Muppet Family Christmas! I got to go back and listen to that."
Aw, thank you. Yeah, the thing with Muppet Family Christmas was we just wanted to get them because we released them daily during December, so we wanted to get them all in the can as quickly as possible. So we had my wife on 5, Ryan's wife on 5, Tough Pigs founder Danny Horn on 5, and I'm sorry, Erik, your enemy, Joe Hennis.
Oh, well, that just stings all the more.
But the truth was that we knew we could get all of them in the room for five short episodes in a row, So
that makes sense.
But yeah, that's truly the only reason we didn't call.
Well, I appreciate it.
All right. Well, super glad to have you back for this one, where we are discussing minutes 43 and 44 of The Muppet Christmas Carol. In these minutes, Scrooge meets Belle, which is presumably the highlight of Fozziewig's Christmas party for him. So we open with the end of the singing grapes. We heard David Rudman as the Swedish chef last time. But here we hear just the singing grapes, and then Rizzo says, forget it. Mother always taught me never eat singing food.
I do want to point out that in a few years, Rizzo will eat food that is presumably capable of singing, because there's an episode of Muppets Tonight where I forgot to actually look this up, but I think they're the dancing cheeses that he eats. So Rizzo does on occasion eat sentient Muppet food. It's just, I guess, he forgot his mom's lesson on that occasion.
Well, that raises the question that I always have when watching these movies, and it's, is Rizzo playing a character in A Christmas Carol, as Gonzo is Charles Dickens? So is Rizzo himself here? Is Rizzo speaking about advice that his actual mom gave him? He
has credited Rizzo the Rat as himself in the opening credits. Then. So
yeah, and as we said, I think just a couple of episodes ago, Rizzo does yell, "I'm from New Jersey," when the cat is chasing him. So he's American at least, which Gonzo apparently isn't if he's Charles Dickens.
Yeah, right? It's all very confusing.
But I was going to say about it never eat singing food. I do love the idea that this is a lesson Muppet parents have to teach their children.
Oh, sure.
Right? It's like if the food is sentient, don't eat it.
Yeah, anything might be alive when you're a Muppet.
That's just compassion. That's what the Muppets have been teaching since day one.
That's right.
Right. It was a very subtle lesson that we've never noticed.
So next thing, young Scrooge comes out to deliver a message to Fozziewig. And young Scrooge here is played by Ray Coulthard. I believe we mentioned his name in passing. This is the first time we really get a good look at him. He was a regular on the BBC show Hotel Babylon later. He was the head chef at the titular Hotel Babylon. But other than that, he's just kind of been a character actor since this movie. He was on Call the Midwife one time.
A lot of British TV credits, yeah.
Yeah.
He was also in The English Patient.
Oh, right.
A very good match for a young Michael Caine, I would say. Or at least the hair and makeup departments have done a good job of matching their eyebrows.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we do know what Michael Caine looked like as a younger man. I don't know about this young. I don't know when he started making movies. But yeah, you believe that he's young Michael Caine.
Hard to picture young Michael Caine without the Ipcris file glasses on.
Right.
That's the thing, yeah. It is fun also here to see Fozzie kind of holding court as Scrooge walks up. Fozzie's so at ease, like it's his party and everyone loves him. He's having a great time.
Oh yeah, he's just schmoozing with everyone, yeah.
Yeah, there's I think I said in a previous episode, this is like Fozziewig is who Fozzie always imagines himself to be. I think. Just like the life of the party, everyone loves him, everyone loves being around him.
Yeah.
I love that for him. I'm so glad he got to do that.
And it seems like Frank Oz is having a good time in this scene too. Like just the little buttons that he puts on all the conversations, and like when there's just like a couple of unnamed rats who walk up, and Fozzie's like, I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for going to the party.
Right?
He's really putting his all into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think seeing how well this scene sort of understands Fozzie in such a limited role is, I have a feeling next season it's gonna just emphasize even more how well Muppet Treasure Island does not understand Fozzie in a much larger role, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah. But we'll get to that later.
Fozzie's probably my least favorite thing about that movie. We'll see. Maybe I'll find more to appreciate. But I was,
or
gonna
maybe
say
you'll
about
find
these
something
rats.
else that's your least favorite thing about that movie.
Oh, I hope I love everything.
Yes.
I hope Muppet Treasure Island finally clicks for me.
We're all hoping that.
After 27 years. But Fozzie, when he's talking to these rats, this tells us that Scrooge has known rats socially, at least since he worked for Fozziewig.
Right.
Like, he hires rats to work at his business, and we've talked a lot about how he doesn't hire humans, just a frog and a bunch of rats. But here his boss is talking to rats like they're his buddies. So I think we can assume Scrooge, at least as a young man, thought of rats as equals.
Yeah, we see no sign here of Scrooge I don't know, being prejudiced against these rats. They're just fellow partygoers.
Maybe he went on to hire some of those rats or some of their children.
They could be, yeah.
Family connect, nepotism at Scrooge and Marley.
Yeah.
And then Fozzie, but Scrooge doesn't want to talk to rats now. He wants to shame Fozziewig for spending so much money on the party. This is what he's doing at the Christmas party. And then Fozzie says, Master Scrooge, this is Christmas. It's a time for generosity. Quit working. Go meet some people. Go on.
Now, do you think Scrooge just has some social anxiety, or like he doesn't really know how to meet people? He's a little shy, or maybe he just doesn't know how to dance. So rather than doing the normal social things at this party, he is just like, what am I supposed to do? What am I going to do? I don't know. I'll just go in the back and go over the numbers and see how much money we spent on this party. Maybe that's all he knows how to do.
He's comfortable with the numbers.
Yeah, I say that as a person who is frequently socially uneasy at parties myself. My solution is not to go in the back and see how much money was spent on the party, but I can sympathize with him.
My solution is only to go to parties where people want to talk about Ebenezer Scrooge.
That's good. That would work out really well for you.
It would. But here, I was going to note, Fozzie calls him Master Scrooge here, meaning like young Mr. Scrooge, essentially. And when I was a kid, I thought it just meant like Master Splinter from the Ninja Turtles. Like, I didn't know why Fozzie was calling, because I just like Fozzie was calling him Sensei or whatever. It was like truly how I heard it as a child.
You thought Scrooge
and I didn't know why.
Taught Fozzie how to do ninja moves?
Yes. But just like that was the context where I heard like Master and then somebody's name.
Yeah,
you know?
Huh.
What did you think his preferred weapon was?
Ebenezer Scrooge is a well-known nunchuck guy.
What about Fozziewig?
Fozziewig is a well-known bow staff guy.
I could see that.
I don't know. Can you imagine Fozzie swinging two katanas around? I sure can.
No.
I'm having trouble mapping their personalities onto their corresponding Ninja Turtles, I have to say.
Yeah. Well,
good choices.
I mean, although maybe Scrooge is Raph, so maybe he should be Psy. Like, personality-wise, Scrooge is probably Raph, and Fozzie is probably Michelangelo, I guess.
I think that's the closest, yeah. The closest you're going to get. Listeners, if you have other suggestions, please let us know.
I mean, Kermit's obviously Leonardo.
Yes.
Of course.
Does that mean Piggy is Donatello or Gonzo?
Chip the IT guy is Donatello.
Okay, got it. Perfect.
Yeah, not Bunsen Honeydew?
No, it's Bunsen.
I guess that would make the most sense.
Yeah, Bunsen is Donatello, of course.
And the newsman is April O'Neil.
Uh, and Beaker is Baxter Stockman.
And of course,
All right.
they were all built by Henson Workshop people, much like the live action Ninja Turtles. And that's where we close the loop.
Right.
There it is.
Right. Well done,
So-
everyone. I am kind of surprised that we have yet to see Beaker accidentally turned into a fly. That does seem like something that the Muppet writers would have come up with by now.
Yeah. Especially in the comic. Seems
Yeah.
like something that Roger Langridge would have put in the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
And I don't think he did.
I don't think so.
But in this movie that exists, while all of this is going on, the band, which is the Electric Mayhem or the Acoustic Mayhem, as we established last time, which is what Luke Flowers called them in the storybook of this, the 2019 storybook. They have been playing a low-key waltz, but now Animal cannot hold back anymore. He starts wailing on the drums. The rest of the band matches his tempo, start playing this fast-paced kind of jazzy number.
And they bust out the horns. I think they were all playing strings in the previous minutes, but now when the pace of the music picks up, they grab trumpets and trombones, and now they're playing some New Orleans style jazz. It's really livens up the party.
It does. We should note that this song, so it's on the soundtrack. This instrumental track is on the soundtrack. It's called Fezziwig's Party, and it rules. I listen to it every year very excitedly in my car. But it is credited to Chris Caswell, a person who is neither Paul Williams nor Miles Goodman.
Oh.
So the composer and the songwriter of this movie, neither of them wrote this piece of music.
Is that?
And I don't know why.
Is that the collaborator that Paul Williams has talked about working with, like, for the actual, like, writing? What do you call that? Transcribing the actual sheet music and stuff. I might have that completely wrong.
I bet so. Yeah, it looks like he was the arranger and orchestrator on the two most recent Muppet movies.
Oh, okay.
And he did a bunch of Chipmunks albums in the 80s.
Huh.
But yeah, Muppet Wiki says a frequent collaborator with Paul Williams. So
okay,
I bet
that's
you're
the
right.
guy. That's the chap.
Yeah, that's the chap.
I also wanted to point out that in the background you can see Mrs. Fozziewig dancing with the guy who a minute or two ago said "Merry Christmas." That we all said that he was one of our favorite Muppets in this scene. So he and Fozzie's ma are having a great time dancing.
Lots of good work from the background artists
in
this scene. There is particularly when Scrooge and Belle are talking, there is one actor who is just throwing down some scorching hot dance moves.
A human actor?
A human actor, yes.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah. Awesome. In general, this whole, last week I read a section from the book about Fozziewig's Party being one of my favorite things in the whole book. And this little chunk captures the joy of that section in the book better than just about anything, I think. Where we see Jacob Marley start to do a silly dance, and Robert Marley calls him a dancing fool. And then we see like Rolf excitedly playing the piano, and just everybody's just kind of having a great time, just celebrating.
Yeah, it's nice to see Ralph doing anything, especially excitedly playing the piano, because it'll be a few more years until he speaks again after Jim Henson's passing, and then even more time after that before he really kind of rejoins the cast, the ensemble of the Muppets.
Right. You say until he speaks, but it's like on an episode of Muppets Tonight, he says, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And that was it for several more years. Yeah.
And it's Bill Beretta, like, doing the exact same voice he does now. Like, I don't know why they didn't start having him do it.
Being cautious, I think. I was wondering about whether the phrase "dancing fool" might possibly be anachronistic, because it's like that's the joke when Statler is dancing, Waldorf says "You dancing fool," and then they laugh. I knew there was a Frank Zappa song called "Dancing Fool" from the late 70s, but I had a feeling that wasn't where the phrase originated. So I kept looking, by which I mean I kept scrolling through the first page of Google results. There's a Betty Boop cartoon from 1932 called The Dancing Fool. And then I also found on the Library of Congress website, there's a a foxtrot-style instrumental from 1922 called Dancing Fool by the Clyde Door Orchestra. And then I found an article by Dr. Colette Balmain on a website called View of the Arts, which informed me that the line, "Let me be a dancing fool," appears in a recent song called Permission to Dance by BTS. And that article explains that the phrase goes back to various cultural traditions from various cultures involving celebratory dances where basically people just kind of dance freely with abandon, like the idea of the fool as like, you know, like the jester. So basically being a dancing fool is just dancing like no one is watching.
Right.
And there you have it.
Thanks for that info.
Yeah.
In a true rarity in the podcast medium, your investigation came to a satisfying conclusion.
Pretty much. I'm satisfied.
Yeah, that is rare.
Yeah, I don't have to say, will we ever know about what a dancing fool is?
Serial season 4, Dancing Fool, case closed.
Some questions are more important than answers.
There you go. Wow, is Sarah Koenig in the room? Wow. I didn't know she was on this one.
Do you think she likes Muppets? Should we have her on the show?
We could ask.
Yeah.
But which Muppet, is she? If we're talking about like classic era This American Life cast, let's run through it like we did with Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles. Well,
Wow.
Sarah Vowell is. I mean, Sarah Vowell's Oscar the Grouch, right? If we can use Sesame Street.
Yeah, because it's public broadcasting.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, Ira Glass is Kermit, of course.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Is David Sedaris Gonzo?
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Okay.
All right, but a new human does join the cast of this movie right here. While the song is playing, Fozzie walks up with a young woman named Belle, played by Meredith Braun. This is our first time we see her. She's actually a New Zealand native, I found out while looking her up for this podcast. I didn't know that. Based in the UK, like her entire adult life. Only a very few film and TV credits.
Yeah, I saw 6 acting credits on IMDb.
Yeah, but a lot of theater. She was playing Eponine in Les Mis on the West End when this movie was shot. She was in the cast at that time.
Yeah.
And she was like Christine in Phantom for a while on the West End.
Huh.
She was Lily in The Secret Garden on the West End. So she's done. I mean, she's no slouch.
No, a lot of stage and a lot of singing.
Right. And I think she's a delight in this. I think she's adorable. I think she very minimal screen time, but really makes an impression.
Well, you have to believe with very minimal screen time that she is somebody that Scrooge really kind of fell in love with. And I think that does come across, like you say.
Right. Well, and I think she and Ray Coulthard have it's a very brief scene, but there's a real spark between them. They both seem very taken with each other.
Right.
Here.
It's chemistry in a very short amount of time.
Yeah. I think it's good. I think it's a good decision on Brian Henson's part, probably, to have him bump into her.
Yes, they physically bump into each other.
And then they turn and kind of gaze into each other's eyes while Fozzie is yakking away.
Yeah, well, that's when Fozzie, I think, is saying, "I love these annual Christmas parties. I think we'll do them twice a year."
Which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But
and then when he introduces them, he says, I think this is as the music is fading in or out, but Fozzie says, "Well, I'm glad you two finally met," which implies that he's been trying to get these two together for a while now. He's been trying to play matchmaker.
Right. And then he just keeps on yakking after that too.
Right.
And
he doesn't
they don't even notice because they're falling in love, but Fozzie just won't stop.
There's a Lost Belle Scrooge Fozziewig rom-com in the middle of this particular flashback.
Yeah.
We're witnessing the meet cute.
That's true. And very much so. Yeah. And the ghost of Christmas Past doesn't recognize it as being the meet. I think she does recognize it as being the meet cute, but she's kind of egging Scrooge on. She says, "Do you remember this meeting?" And Scrooge says, "Remember? Yes, I remember." And we've talked a lot about Michael Caine being wonderful in this movie, but he invests that with so much real emotion. the just like bitterness at having to think about this good time.
Yeah.
And knowing how it's going to end.
Yeah.
It really comes through in his performance here. And it's like, I think it's the only thing he says in Fozziewig's party in these minutes, like he did when they first got there.
Yeah. That's probably right.
And he reminds you why he's a legend.
Yeah. Well, and also, since our previous extra special bonus episode when Dave Goles told us that Michael Caine does not blink on camera, I have not remembered it every time, but I've been trying to occasionally look to see if I can catch Michael Caine blinking. I have yet to do so. And in this, he doesn't blink. He's just, completely lost in the emotion of remembering all the regret that he has associated with Belle. Right.
And then the ghost next then says, there was, of course, another Christmas Eve with this young woman some years later. And so, first of all, how many years do we think? How many years do you guys think they were together? Scrooge and Belle. Because they look basically the same. It's not like they age them up with makeup or anything.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what kind of courtship period was traditional in those days before a couple would get married.
It's got to be at least through Scrooge getting on his feet. Maybe that's
true, right?
Like he's maybe junior partner with the Marleys at this point, but she's she's the one who stood by him during this. She stuck with him through long nights, times where he didn't come home from the office until 11, 12 at night, but she was waiting for him. She was devoted. They had a connection, but at a certain point, she needs more. She needs him to commit to her. He's not courting the Marleys. He's courting her.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
maybe
and you can
5 years.
Yeah, I think that seems
5
plausible.
to 7 years.
5 to 7 years.
Something like that.
Sure. And the fact that she eventually needed something more is Scrooge says, "Oh, please do not show me that Christmas." But right before it dissolves to that later Christmas. And as he says, "Oh, please," you can see Belle behind him just beaming during their first meeting. She has such a huge smile on her face. And then it's going to fade to the next scene where she, of course, won't. We don't see too much of the next scene. The world just kind of dissolves to white.
Not in this clip.
Michael Caine turns around. And then, we'll pick up with young Scrooge and Belle next time.
It is interesting that he says, "Oh, please do not show me that Christmas," just based on a ghost saying there was another Christmas Eve with this young woman. He knows how this works. He has figured out exactly what Christmas he's about to see.
Well, they broke up on Christmas Eve.
Right.
All the other Christmases they spent together are not going to be the one that the ghost means.
Right. I mean, presumably, we don't know how happy all their Christmases together were, but yeah.
I suppose.
So if the ghost says there was another, does that mean there was only one other Christmas Eve?
Well, no, because she says some years later. She specifically says that. So I think to make it clear that it's more than a year passing.
I was paraphrasing a second ago. I should have quoted the whole line.
Right. But that actually brings us to the end of the clip. So Erik, do you have any other thoughts about these 2 minutes?
I mean, it's just Muppet Christmas Carol is an interesting one for me because I think that there are kind of long pockets of it where you don't get the ensemble Muppet movie spirit that I often look for and seek out in my favorite Muppet movie moments. And this scene has that, it has that very nice kind of poignant inclusion of a lot of the Henson characters that we hadn't seen up until this point in the film. And it's a big, raucous, messy party. And it's a lot of fun in the middle of a sequence that is not necessarily fun from Scrooge's point of view. But it's just good to see everybody cutting it up in Fozziewig's storage unit full of rubber chickens and clown shoes.
Yeah, true. Couldn't put it better. Ryan, anything else before we move on?
Yes, I have a few things. Actually, Erik just mentioned the clown shoes. There are also some what look like clown hats on the shelf behind the Swedish chef. So earlier, Scrooge referred to this as Fozziewig's rubber chicken factory, but clearly Fozziewig's is a manufacturer of fine novelty products of all types, not just rubber chickens. Which reminds me of Archie McPhee. Are you familiar with Archie McPhee?
But of course.
I used to get these catalogs in the mail. There's a website now. They're a company that sells silly novelty items, which just like, I feel like they're the modern version of this Fozziewig rubber chicken and novelty company. If you go to Archie McPhee's website right now and click on top sellers, you'll see things like a possum driving a peanut, a tin of emergency googly eyes, little plastic hands that you put on your fingertips, a squishy stress tardigrade, and instant underpants in a can. And all of this just sounds like stuff that Fozziewig would be happy to sell. So
Fozziewig's got to he's got to diversify his portfolio into bacon themed items. That's really what I associate with.
There
Archie
were.
McPhee.
I also saw bacon. I think bacon Band-Aids on the front page of Archie McPhee. So they also have a physical store in Seattle where they actually have a rubber chicken museum that you can walk through, like a little series of displays of rubber chickens from throughout history. So
that's great.
That's one thing. What else do I have here? What other kind of nonsense? Another thing we should mention about Meredith Braun, I saw this on Muppet Wiki. In 2013, she recorded Rainbow Connection for her album Someone Else's Story. And then more recently, just in 2017, she re-recorded a song that we're about to hear her sing, When Love Is Gone, for an album which I think is also called When Love Is Gone, that she did. So she's gone back to the Muppet well a couple times. And speaking of Belle, only a couple of adaptations featuring other established characters have featured the character. Most of them just kind of skip over her. But in Mickey's Christmas Carol, Belle is played by Daisy Duck, which is a little weird because like Scrooge McDuck is the uncle, in the quote unquote real life of the characters. Scrooge is the uncle of Donald, and Daisy is usually depicted as the girlfriend of Donald. But in this dramatization that they're participating in, Daisy is playing Scrooge's girlfriend.
Well, let me tell you a story from real life, and by real life I mean a radio broadcast from 1945.
Love it.
I recently listened to Dick Tracy in B flat from Command Performance, which is a musical comedy spoof of Dick Tracy, starring like Bing Crosby as Dick Tracy, Bob Hope as Flat Top, and so on.
A musical comedy spoof of Dick Tracy.
Yes.
Nice.
Featuring the named character. And the reason I bring this up in response to that, the Scrooge McDuck thing, is because the character Vitamin Flintheart, the bumbling bartender, is played by Frank Morgan. And the character Snowflake, who he marries at the end, is played by Judy Garland. So, yes, in this radio adaptation, the Wizard of Oz and Dorothy get married at the end.
And you said that's from 1940 something, so that was after
45,
the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, so it's a few years after the Wizard of Oz. Yeah,
this is very interesting. I'm sure all the soldiers ran to Twitter to talk about that.
That's true. But I mean, Judy was in her 20s. She's an adult.
Oh, sure, yeah.
She's not a teenager anymore. But still, that's weird. Still
interesting. Then in the Flintstones Christmas Carol, Belle is played by Wilma. Alert listeners might recall that Wilma also played the Ghost of Christmas Past. I did not go back to read the entire synopsis of the Flintstones Christmas Carol to find out why Wilma plays both characters. But if anybody else wants to do that, I'm pretty sure there's a detailed synopsis on Wikipedia.
I mean, the moral of the story sounds to me like if you're going to do the Christmas Carol adaptation, you got to make sure that you've got a deep bench of named characters, or else you're going to wind up repeating.
Yeah,
you're going to pull a Wizard of Oz.
Right. But none of those other, like the Smurf version didn't, the Muppet comic strip and Muppet Magazine didn't have Belle, so
Rich Little doesn't have her?
Not that I saw in my very in-depth research. What voice what impression would Rich Little have done to play Belle in his version?
Carol Channing.
Oh, see, I was just thinking maybe Mae West, but yeah, Carol Channing would be
that'd
good
be good too. Yeah.
Erik, any alternative casting choices?
I was thinking. My mind went to Phyllis Diller, but I think I was actually thinking Carol Channing.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. And not speaking of Rich Little, but speaking of other adaptations, I wanted to talk in the old Curiosity Shop. The main thing is, in the book, Scrooge doesn't meet Belle at Fezziwig's party. Does not happen. The first time we see Belle, the first mention of Belle is after the party. The world dissolves. Again, Scrooge saw himself. He was older now, a man in his prime of life, and then there's some other stuff. He was not alone, but sat by the side of a fair young girl in a mourning dress. So that's the first time we hear about Belle. Okay. Is like now years have passed. There's no Belle at Fezziwig's party, and yet this is far from the first adaptation to have that. So I went back and checked the 1938 movie with Reginald Owen. No, they do not meet at the party. Okay. 1951 movie with Alastair Sim. No, they do not meet at the party. Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol, they do. Mickey's Christmas Carol, they do.
Right. That sounds familiar.
It's for whatever reason, it's like the children's character adaptations. Huh. They meet at the party. George C. Scott meets her at the party in the 1984 movie. But he seems to know her. He's just like, Belle, would you like to dance? And she's like, I thought you'd never ask.
I think the arc of the two characters' relationship resonates more if we do see if Belle is introduced earlier in Scrooge's story. I think then we kind of understand more. Like, this is someone who was important to Scrooge for a long time.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you find out it's not in the book, and that sounds wrong.
Yeah.
Because it seems so natural to introduce her there.
Yeah. Also, I'm happy to report, I've been talking about this all along, but I have now seen Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. And it is good.
What you mean is that you now have the Lord's bright blessing and knowing we're together.
Yes,
and
that's right.
Razzleberry dressing.
Right.
There it is.
Right.
There it is.
See, now I understand that reference.
Ryan gets it now.
Now I can sing about razzleberry dressing.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And Belle has a song in that too, which we'll probably talk about next time.
That is true.
Belle has a song in this movie. And it's good too, in my opinion. By the way, as I'm sure we've discussed, the songs in that are by Jewel Stein and Bob Merrill, who wrote the songs for Funny Girl together. So, it's not they weren't messing around when they hired the creative team.
Like
for that.
Major Broadway composers. Yeah,
wild.
I mean, it's got a bright sheen of prestige all over it. I mean, it is staged as if it were a contemporary Broadway play.
Right.
Yeah, for some reason, Mr. Magoo is established as a Broadway star in the reality of that special, and he's starring in an adaptation of A Christmas Carol.
Yeah,
and they've trained Gerald McBoing to say more words than onomatopoeia.
That's true. Until you said that, I never once thought about Tiny Tim being Gerald McBoing. But you're right. He totally is.
Yeah.
That UPA style, there wasn't too much variation. But so that the last thing then is, Erik, a few questions about the movie. What's your history with the movie? Where do you rank it among the Muppet movies? And this year we're asking, do you watch it every December?
Well, my history with it is this is probably the first Muppet movie that I saw first run in the theater. I was born in 1985, so I missed out on the chance to see the first three in the theaters. And I would have been this is a 1992 release, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
correct.
Yeah, so I would have been 7 that the holiday season that this was released. I remember going to see it with my family at our local megaplex in Brighton, Michigan, and my most distinct memory of it, and I'm sure this is true of a lot of people, is just being absolutely terrified by the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. I mean, like if you were going to rank scary Ghosts of Christmas Yet to Come, it definitely ranks very high on that list. Just big, spooky, ominous, tall, bigger than life.
That's true. Very large.
More frightening
Yeah.
than anything you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
And so, that really made an impression on me. But, it's a funny thing about it being, and I might be jumping ahead to the third question here. It's a funny thing about it being an annual revisit, because I think that then kind of detracts from how often you revisit it. Like, the first three, Muppet Treasure Island, even Muppets from Space, like those are movies in my prime Muppet viewing periods that maybe I would watch a couple of times a year. But
Sure.
Muppet Christmas Carol really just like holding that perennial spot. It's one that you take the clamshell off the shelf once during a specific period on the calendar, and then you don't watch it again for another year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not to detract from any of its qualities and any of its its merits as being probably one of the best cinematic adaptations of the Dickens tale. I mean, at least from like a faithfulness to the source material.
Yeah, it comes up in that conversation a lot.
Yeah. And also, the podcast continues to lavish praise on the Michael Caine performance. I mean, hands down, only to my personal favorite, Charles Grodin, do I think Michael Caine could come in second place in terms of human performances in a Muppet movie. And even then, Grodin doesn't really anchor Great Muppet Caper the way that Michael Caine has to. He is
right. Yeah, he's. I mean, he has maybe 20 minutes of screen time. Really, 25. Like, he's not really in it that much.
Yeah,
right.
Michael Caine is the main character.
Yeah. He's the main character. His performance carries the film. He is the reason that every 6 months, somebody on Twitter is like, "Hey, what Muppet project should recast a classic story with one human in it?" It is an absolutely indelible thing. And for that reason, I am kind of conflicted about where to put it in the rankings. Like, Muppets from Space, which I haven't watched in a long, long time, I do have a lot of sentimental feeling toward.
Me too.
And I may even I'm probably contradicting rankings that I've given in past episodes, thinking that I'm going to put that in fourth, but I don't. That seems absurd. And I've also come to have a renewed appreciation on repeat viewing for Muppets Most Wanted, which I think is
great.
the funniest Muppet movie since Great Muppet Caper. So
I think we're both right there with you on that.
So Christmas Carol's somewhere in 4, 5, 6 range, I think.
Okay. Yeah, middle.
Yeah, it's not to detract from it. It is a very great piece of just kind of screen craft. Everything looks great.
Yeah.
The songs are wonderful. I'm gonna have One More Sleep Till Christmas stuck in my head from now until New Year's. But yeah, it's just going to always be hard to compete with the first three, especially when you're the movie that has to follow up that run, and has that big long shadow cast over it. They do an admirable job, but it's hard to escape that shadow.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's a good way to put it. Well, that's it for today. We're done. Erik, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was an absolute blast and a joy. Only for y'all would I bend my extremely strict rules about Christmas media outside of the Thanksgiving to New Year's window.
We get that.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like we started recording this season in June, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's been so strange to be thinking about Christmas all the time, every week,
It is kind of, I mean, that's kind of that's a nice sentiment. It must be sort of a nice headspace to exist Christmas every day, though, there's also, there's a little Elmo special from after this movie that shows us that that's maybe not a wish that you want to make.
Yeah, no, we don't want it to be Christmas again.
Every day can't be your birthday. That wouldn't be much fun. All right. But yes. Anyways, listeners, you can find us back here in 1 week from today talking about Christmas again. It's Christmas again. But in the meantime, please check out toughpigs.com on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, on the wind. We're all over the place.
Sure.
You can, if you so desire, you can become a Tough Pigs patron on Patreon. You can email us at movingrightalong@toughpigs.com to tell us how much you enjoy Michael Caine's performance. You can follow Ryan on Twitter at @MeRyanRowe and on Letterboxd at MoviesAreNeat, where you can see his recent rave review of Radioland Murders.
Yeah, more people should watch that movie.
I got to check it out. And you can follow me on Letterboxd at Zeppo Marxist, where you can read my recent rave review of The Invisible Man's Revenge, I guess. And
I don't know if more people should watch that movie because I've never seen it.
It's okay. It's middling.
Some Erik, people should watch that movie.
Yes. Erik, where can our listeners find you and your work these days online?
Well, you might be able to find me on Letterboxd still. I set up an account like 2 Halloweens ago and added a bunch of horror movies that I was watching that October, and then promptly dropped my use of that site. But I should fire it back up. It seems like at the very least Anthony and Ryan are having fun over there. So I want to get in on that.
It does get very active. As we're recording this, it's Halloween season. I have noticed that it gets very active around this time because everybody is watching scary movies.
It sounds like a Fezziwig's twice annual Christmas party that I should be a part of. But in addition to that place where I might not be, you can find me on Twitter at Erik M. Adams. And then my work these days exists over at IndieWire.com, where I am the deputy editor of craft and special projects. So editing a lot of great articles about behind the scenes of your favorite TV and movies. I like to tell people that my job is like the special features of IndieWire. You get to learn all about how your favorite scenes were lit and shot, and in a couple of days, this is here we're going to be mixing up the seasons here. I'm working on a story about the long lost score to It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. So hopefully that'll be on the web by the time this episode is out.
Oh, cool! I can't wait to read that.
We love special features.
We do. That's why we have a podcast where we talk about movies 2 minutes at a time.
There you go.
But thank you so much, Erik, for being here. Thank you to Morgan Davy for designing our logo. And thank you to every listener out there for giving us that positive review you've been meaning to give us since Fozziewig's last biannual Christmas party. And join us again next week for another episode of Moving Right Along. Goodbye.
Oh, I just got a letter from Jeffrey Katzenberg. Next week's episode is canceled.